Let's have some light. Good evening, good people. Okay, so maybe I took an extra minute, so do forgive me. I shall crack on. Good evening, good evening, good evening. I'm sure you're going to be here any second. Good evening. Welcome to the 13th and last episode of Speak with Dilys. Don't be a pain. Thank you, Marlene, Frank, for being on here. Guys, as you join, if you wouldn't mind sharing, that would be amazing. We're going to be talking about how to live with chronic sickness, chronic illness. Hi, Ifwa. Thank you very much for jumping on here. Much appreciated. I just about managed to get myself a coffee. I much would have preferred water, but there ain't none. Hi, Eben Coffee. Hello, guys. I don't know what happened to the internet there, but hopefully we won't be having any problems. I just pray, Lord, let's pray and not have any issues. Ajwa Kankam, thank you for joining. Guys, as you join, please do share. Welcome to the last episode of Season 3, Speak with Dilys. The title of today's episode is Don't Be a Pain. We are speaking about chronic illness. Hi, Shell. Lovely to have you on here. Hello, Anita. How are you doing? Who else do we have on here? Guys, if you post something in the comment box and I can see that you're on here, because I can only see numbers unless you make a comment. And I would like to greet you all when you do come on, as many of you as possible. So thank you for and sharing your Sunday with me. Hi, OC. Hi, Big Sis. How are you doing? And I'm Vicky Addo. Thank you for jumping on. Oh, okay, guys. I don't know what's going on with the internet, and I'm really hoping I'm not going to have any issues. So I'll switch back to my Wi-Fi instead of the whatever was going on. Let's just pray that we don't have any nonsense. Kay, Samantha, thank you for being on here. Hi, Isaac. How are you doing? Guys, please do share as you jump on. We're going to be talking about chronic illness, okay? Yes, Anita, I've just switched over, so hopefully I won't have this again. I've been fine like all day, so I don't know. The devil is a liar. Don't know what's going on here. So Maureen, thank you for being on here as well. Anne as well. And Anne as well. Put my teeth back in. Anastina, thank you for being on here. Guys, so we are going to be speaking about chronic illness. For those of you that haven't, actually no, let's start from the beginning. It's always good to start from the top. Let's first start with how y'all feeling. How are you feeling this Sunday evening? Are you feeling good? Are you feeling tired, worn out? However you're feeling, just use those emoji whatevers and let me know how you're feeling. If you're feeling happy, then, you know, send a laughing emoji. Well, I can see a lot of thumbs up and hearts, so it means you guys are feeling good, which is brilliant, which is absolutely fantastic. I can just see some messages. Lynette Douglas, thank you for being on here. How are you, my love? Richard, how are you? Amma Doreen, how are you doing as well? Missy says, hello sis, good evening all. Tasha, thank you for being on here. Isaac, how are you doing? Isaac, I like being called auntie, if anything. Mom is just... and Alison as well, thank you for being on here. And let me see, I hope I have not missed anybody out. I don't think I have. So yeah, guys, if you post a comment, then I can see, you know, who is on here. Chanel says, Dilys from Chanel, and Mum Juliet is listening. Hi, Mum, how are you? I was actually going to send Chanel a message to say, you know, to ask what her mum's name was. So hi, Auntie Juliet, how are you doing? God bless you. Thank you for watching my show. I was really chuffed when Chanel said. I thought that was really lovely. And yes, I would love to come round and have something with bubbles in it. That would be great. Thank you so much. Hi, Jay. Shirley answers, hi, Dilys. Thank you very much. You know what? I am running out of clothes, so it's good that this Speak with Dilys is the last episode. This is number 13 of the third series of Speak with Dilys. This is the last one. That means we would have done 39 topics of Speak with Dilys. I am so proud of you. I am proud of myself. I thank God. I am very happy that we have been able to speak about so many sensitive and important topics in a space where everybody's just so respectful, you know, to the other. And I'm really grateful. And that's not my doing, that's your doing. So thank you very much. Nana Crenshaw Mills, thank you for being on here. Cheryl says, your heating must be on full blast. How come? What makes you say that? Because it is on and it's hot. But don't worry, because it goes off around half an hour before we finish. So I'm going to freeze. So don't worry about that. Okay, guys. So what does Dilys do? I am a life coach. I'm a best-selling author of the book, Not This Widow. My first book was called Predator Prince, How to Find the Man of Your Dreams, Not Your Nightmares. I am also an event host, so if you have an event and you need it to be sprinkled with a little bit of class and sass, you need to call me because I'm going to make it worth your while. What else do? I am a public speaker, and actually I am going to be one of the speakers for the Rotary Club for International Women's Day. Super proud of that. Really, really happy. And I will be advertising the details of that because it's a virtual event. You can join via Zoom. So yes, so things are happening and I'm very happy. Oh, lovely to have you on here, Tina Farage and Aisha Ankara. Thank you very much. And Echo, Andy and Charity, thank you for jumping on here as well. Richard, yes, thank you very much. Thank you. I'm really, really happy. So to get a gig like that was absolutely great. So yeah, so that's what's going to be happening. So what are we here for today? We are here for the last episode. Yes, last episode of Speak with Dilys. And it is about dealing and living with chronic illness. Okay. So I'm going to read out to you please do post it. I most certainly will. So basically you will have to register for the event. You'll get an email with all the necessary details. So I will definitely post the event for you. It's on the 10th of March from 6 to 8. And I believe it's a Thursday. So guys, if you would kindly share this video before we get into it and get more people on here for us to have a very important conversation. We always have important conversations, but this is extra important because this is the finale. So patience, thank you for joining. And I'm going to just kick off and read what we are going to be speaking about today. So when we say health is wealth, we can only really appreciate this saying when we're faced with serious illness. When you've been in good health and suddenly you or a loved one is diagnosed with a chronic illness, how does one cope? The impact on not only health, but lifestyle, family and finances can be devastating. But is there a way to have some control over the situation? How do we manage life after such news and the deterioration of health when it occurs? How do you stay positive and create a new normal? The carers of those supporting sick children, partners or family members living with chronic illness are often forgotten. How can you cope as a carer when the sick party is the priority and not you? Well, we're going to find out on the 13th and last episode of Speak with Dilys, Series 3, Don't Be a Pain. We'll be discussing how to live with chronic illness and create a quality of life that's right for you this Sunday. This Sunday is today. So guys, how are we all feeling? How do we feel about this topic? Just give me some comments whilst I say hi to some great people. So Anne, lovely to have you on here. I love your name, Anne Puttycombe. And Shelley's here, shared it into groups. I'm for spinal issues. Yes, Shell has not been well. And Shell, always has so much, valuable information to share with us. I'm always, very blessed to have you, Shell. So thank you. And I know that you're going to be, open with what you're going through. And I know it's not been easy. It's been quite a tough, couple of weeks. Nana says, beautiful dress, Dilys, looking as sharp as a razor, my mum will say. Oh, bless you. Thank you. It's actually a top, which I was saying, I look like I'm pregnant because I probably should have put a belt in it. But yeah, look, like three of us, all of you could fit in this dress, in this top rather. But thank you very much for the lovely compliments that you always give. I try and make a bit of an effort. Should have seen me around 5 o'clock. It's terrible. Mimi, how are you doing? Love your show, Dilys. Thank you so much. Shirley, you crying because it's the last episode of Speak with Dilys? Well, I'm crying as well, actually. I am. I'm upset. Because Sundays are so great with you guys. It really is. So, let's get cracking. So, the reason why I felt that this topic was important was for many, many reasons. And as I have said, of late, when I'm thinking of something to speak about, some of you may call it meditation, I would call it prayer, or sometimes a bit of both, to find what I need to speak about in season. So many people may choose topics that are hot topics, and there's nothing wrong with that. There's times where there's something that is so relevant, but it's worth having a conversation about. And I've done that many times myself, so I'm absolutely not knocking anyone. I'm just saying this is how things have kind of evolved for me in the last maybe 3 weeks or so. And chronic illness, just came to me as a topic that we needed to speak about. And then Shell had some issues, and we spoke privately, and I kind of went off the radar a bit because there were other personal things happening in my life, and I just needed to have a bit of calm. Well, actually, it was my late husband's third anniversary on the 21st of January, and I just didn't really feel like engaging with anybody that day. I didn't want to post anything on social media because I didn't really want I'm really sorry, because I'm kind of, I didn't want to be in that headspace. I thought I could manage it a lot better just on my own with my daughter. So that's exactly what we did. Guys, if you're on here and you haven't shared, please share. Otherwise, I'm never coming back. Bit of emotional blackmail there, always works. But no, on a serious note, it would be great if you could share this, and let's have a wider conversation about something that is very important to everybody, because things like sickness and stuff like that, we just don't have any control over when it's going to happen, if it's going to happen. We just don't know. And if it doesn't happen to us directly, we have friends, we have family, we've got kids and all of that stuff, and life happens. So basically, Speak with Dilys is a show that speaks about real life issues, things that count, people who matter, and information that needs to be heard. The Embassy Parker says, this is a tough but very important subject. It is difficult to talk about because it's deeply emotional. I have shared a great deal with you about my own experiences. Yes, you have, sis. And actually, it was when your name popped up that made me say, this is not an easy conversation to have. So bless you for being here. I really appreciate it. Valinda, thank you for being here as well. And Eunice, thank you for being on here. Chanel says, chronic illness is something we seldom consider until our lives are either blighted or when we find ourselves within a new and overwhelming situation. However, ordinarily, it's something most people don't consider. Hence, is a great topic to discuss. God bless you. Thank you very much. And Sharon, thank you for watching. And this is why I wanted to have this conversation, because, there are some things you can never truly appreciate what it feels like until you're in it. It's like death, and I don't mean once you did, because once you did, you're not really going to feel anything, are you? But I mean, if we're talking about, preparing for death, like the practical things that one should consider in order to be able to manage the inevitable. And sometimes I think, depending on our belief system and the way we think and our upbringing and our, as I said, our religious beliefs and what have you, may not allow us to think about certain parts of life that we should think about and we should be prepared for rather. So one of the things that I believe is really important when people are suffering, thank you, Eunice, for sharing, when one is faced with chronic illness, is being able to manage your mental health. One of the main struggles of people suffering from chronic illness is having to deal with their mental health in terms of depression. Now, I know we have spoken about depression many times, but when you take depression as a standalone struggle to deal with, it is very different to having to consider depression in conjunction with a chronic illness. Because many chronic illnesses, or some chronic illnesses, involve excruciating pain. So you're having to deal with the physical pain of whatever your illness is, as well as having to manage your mental health. And therein lies two very difficult and challenging areas for anybody to have to deal with. Akira Sakudi, thank you very much for being on here, as well as Stir Sassy. I haven't seen that name before, so if you're new, welcome, and I hope you enjoy this program. If you feel led, please do share as well. So let me just quickly read what Tina said. She said, I've had mine since I was 21. It's life-changing and very difficult to deal with as you go through so many emotions with it, let alone the ups and downs of the illness itself. Well, there you go. Hi, Jamal. Thank you for being on here as well. And Aisha Ankara. And this is why I said it's important that we have these conversations that may not be, in vogue, like talking about, I don't know. We speak about relationships and stuff often on my show, but it's always from a different angle. It's never the sensational, let me go viral kind of conversations, because I'm more concerned about let us be able to manage our individual lives and in turn be able to support one another, affecting our communities and, you know, the wider community at that. So when I'm speaking about the mental health element, which is important in how we manage our mental health when we are suffering from critical illness, it is very important. How do we manage our mental health? Well, I've got some amazing women on here who have had to, you know, who are going through that because they are living with chronic illness. And they will share, I'm sure, in the comments how they've managed. But one of the things that came to me, and these are things that you can't, your doctor isn't going to tell you, and the nurses aren't particularly going to tell you. But I'm probably going to maybe say that a little bit later. I'm going to go through some practical things that you probably expect. Like, for example, managing your diet. Eating well is important because when you're managing a critical illness or living with a critical illness, apart from what is going on internally, what you eat is very important, and what you drink. If you are able to exercise, try to. But it's important that you're able to eat a diet that is conducive for somebody that needs to be very particular about their health. It's challenging depending on what it is you're suffering with and how much support you can get. So I'm not talking about these things as in necessarily a tick box, because some people are reliant on others before they can eat. But I'm saying in an ideal world, managing your diet is very important. It is easy to comfort eat because, again, when you are struggling with a mental burden of depression in conjunction with managing a critical illness, sometimes we comfort eat. Most people do it. Or if you were like me in my younger days, I don't eat anything at all, but neither one is good enough for your health. So that's something that we would have to, you know, be mindful of. Also, hi Joanne, great. I have not seen you for a while. I hope you're well. And Omari, thank you so much. That is really, really lovely of you to join. So yes, so your diet is important. Also, managing your medication. Now, I know this might sound like a weird one, but I was trying to talk about my late husband's situation a little bit later, but maybe I may just interject and just flow as a spirit leads. I'm just going to go with that. So one of the things that I knew my late husband found empowering was being able to manage his medication. So in fact, I knew very little about the medication that he was taking because he had everything under control in that respect. He knew what time he needed to take it. He knew what he needed to take. He knew what he needed to take it with. He knew if he needed to eat to take the medication, and he was able to manage it. And I think one of the things that is very important for people who are dealing with chronic illness is to be able to maintain a level of control. You're already feeling helpless, in quote, to a degree, because your body is doing stuff that you don't know what it's doing. It's just decided to go off on a tangent and you have to follow. As opposed to the other way around, as in your body is doing what you're telling it to do. So it is a struggle in having to balance all these things when you're trying to manage your mental health. But diet is most definitely something that has to be considered because certain foods aren't good for you and can make you feel more depressed. So it's important that you're able to be aware of what it is that you're putting into your body. Water is medicine. I mean, water is medicine. That's all I can say. So, your water intake is also very, very important. Going on to other practical stuff like keeping yourself informed of your condition. Sometimes you have to balance things because when we're told that, okay, right, you've been diagnosed with X, the first thing most people do is to go onto the internet and start to Google. That is not always the best thing to do because there are so many different explanations you will get for your condition or sometimes even your symptoms that is not going to be encouraging. And what is very important is that you guard your thoughts. So in order for you to be able to maintain control, what you allow to come into you, what you allow to feed into your mind and what you allow yourself to hear is of paramount importance in you being able to maintain that control over your mental health. Because there's certain decisions that have to be made depending on what kind of chronic illness you've been diagnosed with, whether it's something that is degenerative, whether it's something that is terminal, whether it is something that is life-changing in terms of disability. Whichever one it is, there is always that decision of, is this going to rule me or am I going to rule this? And so therefore your thoughts and how you guard them are so important. Now, again, I'm not speaking as somebody who has gone through chronic illness, but I've had the misfortune, so to speak, of witnessing somebody going through chronic illness. So there's things that in hindsight, I wish I had known then, especially about the mental health side of things and the depression. I think I realized too late the impact of being diagnosed with a chronic illness, or of what it does to somebody's mental health. And one of the things that I didn't bargain for was the outbursts of anger and frustration. And sometimes as the carer, we tend to take it personally because we are also tired, but very much forgotten. Because like I said, you know, when I was writing up the description for what we're going to be talking about, we are not the priority here. The sick person is the priority. But in saying that, there has to be balance, because if the carer's not taken care of, the one being cared for, their care is going to struggle, you know, to a degree. And I'm going to go into, you know, different things concerning that from me as a carer and what I had to do to keep myself, you know, sane. So I've spoken about, you know, the acceptance of that diagnosis. You go into, you know, maybe you've not been feeling well. You finally go into that hospital or into that doctor's surgery. The results are back. And this is what they say to you. Miss so-and-so, Mrs. so-and-so, Mr. so-and-so, you have this. That moment that the world stops, really. What do you do? I think one of the main things to do is to accept or come to a place where you are able to take in what you've been told, because the acceptance may take some time. And it's during that period that it's important that you are not leaving yourself open to being overwhelmed with information. That's probably the period where you need some quiet to take in and absorb exactly what it is you've been told. Because there's so many emotions that you're going to be going through. How is my life going to change? How is my relationship going to change? What does it mean for me financially? Not everybody who is diagnosed with a chronic illness has a family. So there's also that side of things as well. And that fear of when things get too bad, what am I going to do? Sorry, I can hear police car. I know I ain't done nothing. Okay, it's gone now. Sorry. So it's us, you know, being able to be in that space of that calm and peace of assessing how is our life going to change and what are we going to do about it and how are we going to manage it. And I think there's some really good things that we can discuss as to how that is going to be possible. I'm going to read some comments. Okay, now, right, let me just do something here. I just have to do a quick something. Okay, so I'm going to read some comments out in a minute. Just bear with me. All right, 1 second. This is showbiz. You have to be aware of anything that can go wrong will go wrong. Okay, cool. Right, done that. So let me read some comments. Shell says, losing control as a survivor of abuse is also difficult. I understand that most definitely. Sarah Brody says, hello, beautiful people. So guys, acknowledge the greeting. Curly Bailey is watching. Thank you very much for being on here. AC Mbeng says, hi, Dilys. Hi to you too. Amadori said, this is so true. The internet is sometimes misleading. Yes, it is, most definitely. Marlene says, state of your mind is crucial. Absolutely. Positive thoughts is brain food. I love that. I like that. That's very true. Tina Farage says, you have many stages to chronic illness. The first is anger. Okay, let me expand it. Eventually, you have acceptance of it, and that propels you forward. Yeah, you're right, Tina. I think hopefully you have acceptance, because sometimes people really struggle with the acceptance part, depending on what it is, depending on the lifestyle that that person had before they were diagnosed. Because, for example, if you look at my late husband, for example, is a very, very independent person. And being dependent on his wife and kids, he hated it. He hated it. And I think that hope that things would one day change is what I think kept him going. So I think you're right. When you can come to that place of acceptance, it does propel you forward. As to when and how that comes, I think is dependent very much on the person and the support that they have around them. Yemisi says, one thing that causes incredible stress is the cost of managing the care. That's a very good one. Of the chronically ill loved ones. Like you mentioned, the cost ranges from financial, emotional, mental, through spiritual. The financial impact of dealing with chronic illness can be devastating, especially because it may end in death. You're absolutely right. Where you are caring for a loved one whose illness is terminal, you may spend all your income on their care, so their eventual death can cause deep depression. Absolutely. And I think this is why I thought this conversation was important. Amari says, absolutely, information and impact of opinions and balancing the dichotomy, I love that word, between alternative herbal treatment and the conventional medical approach is complex and must be treated carefully. Indeed. Tina says, with my ME and fibro, sorry, somebody's just commented, it's gone up. Is it Milad? Listen, my English is going a bit funky. It's fibromyalgia. I can't pronounce that, sorry. But I know what it is. Because I know people that have it. I had to fight with my doctor as he didn't, sorry, my eyes are playing up, so I'm struggling a little bit. I had to fight with my doctor as he didn't say I had it. I knew I did as I read a lot on it. Asked him to refer to a specialist, and that specialist immediately said that I had this. It's hard work. That is another thing. And this is where support is really important, because I also had to struggle with this as well and fight with people. Oh, boy, did I have to fight. And sometimes you know your body and you know when something is wrong. And I think what people find particularly frustrating is when you know something is wrong, you're speaking to a doctor and they're just not hearing you. I mean, with something like that, all I can say is try and maybe visit your doctor with somebody that can be an advocate for you or an additional voice and that support, because sometimes they just don't listen. Okay? They just don't listen. And I've gone through this and I'm speaking from experience as well. And that can be very frustrating. And when it turns out to be something that is life-changing, like a chronic, illness or something that's terminal or anything of that nature, it's more difficult. It's an additional hurt or anger that you have to deal with because you just want to be listened to. Evan, thank you for being on here. Afolabi, thank you so much. And thank you so much for sharing. Afolabi says, your thoughts and acceptance plays a big part in your healing. It really does. And there's something else I'm going to be speaking about concerning healing as well. The next says acceptance. Also, absence of acceptance can lead to improvements being delayed. Indeed. Princess says, I struggle to accept my diagnosis of, I'm going to pronounce that word again, because I can't even see it to even get the letters out. As I felt I was very young, and how was I going to live the rest of my life with the illness? But all changed when my mindset changed. And I'm really thankful that you are sharing that about mindset, because the mental side of things is extremely important. Guys, if you can share this broadcast, that would be great. Shani Ann says, it's so challenging and stressful. Tina says, my whole life totally changed, but I didn't have a choice. I had to rest and stop working. It was overnight. I've had to stop everything. I'm so sorry to hear that, but you're such a positive person. I know that being positive takes work. People don't just wake up one day and they're positive. It starts with a decision. It starts with you saying that I don't want this thing to beat me. It starts with saying that, you know what, this may have happened, but this does not define me. I need to be X. I can still be Y. Whether it's something that's terminal or not, whether it's something that involves a disability or not, there comes a point where it is about you making that crucial decision to say, I just want to live. Even though it's difficult, I just still want to live and I have the right to live. So I've spoken about being in control of your medication, your mental health, deciding, how you're going to play this out. Who is going to write this story? Is my body going to write the story? Is my medical prognosis and diagnosis going to write the story? Or am I going to write this story? And this is where, we've just touched on the topic of acceptance. And then we've spoken about keeping yourself informed about your care and being in control, i.e. speaking to the right medical professionals and just keeping abreast with what is going on with you. Because one of the things that causes anxiety really is about not knowing. The unknown is what causes anxiety. Once you know, no matter how bad it is, it's about control. So so take it from this angle. You know you've not been feeling well. You know something is wrong and nobody is able to give you a diagnosis. Even when the prognosis and the diagnosis is given after that knowledge has been given, at least you know what it is. So therefore, there is an element of control that you take back, which I think is crucial for your mental health and how you manage your care and even the conversations you have about your medical state moving forward. So I think that is something that's very important. Other things that can help you deal with chronic illness is managing your environment, making sure your environment is clean and free from clutter. Because I am telling you, being able to be in a space creating a calm space is crucial. When you're not feeling well and being in an environment that is not clean or that is not peaceful, i.e. there is a lot of contention, it is bad for your health. It's bad for your health when you're not suffering from a chronic illness. So it's really important that your environment speaks to what you need to be feeling internally. It's very important. Keep friends and family informed of what's going on with you so that they can give you the necessary support. This is not a time for isolation. However, if you're anything like me, and I'm saying this so that we're balanced, you may need some time on your own to come to terms. Don't leave it too long, but even still, do have somebody that you trust and who you know can support you and be able to keep an eye out for you. We spoke about suicide and suicidal tendencies, and we spoke about people that have suicidal tendencies through facing a crisis. Sometimes being diagnosed with a chronic illness or terminal illness can trigger those thoughts. And one of the things we spoke about was having, people that you can go to who you can be accountable to and who can be accountable for your care. So I think that is also very important as well. Guys, if you're watching, please do share. There is something else. There's other things that I'm going to be speaking about. But one of the things that we don't talk about often, and your doctor's not going to tell you, when it comes to managing chronic illness, you have a lot going on with you physically. Your body's running away, you're trying to catch up, and you're in pain. You don't know what the future holds for you. That's the point in your life that it's time to travel light. And what do I mean by traveling light? That's a time for you to sit down and assess your relationships, assess your interactions, family, and what have you, and start to make peace with either people, situations, your circumstances, and your past. Your doctor ain't going to tell you this, but I'm going to tell you this. Because when you are in a state of your health being in question, what goes on with you emotionally and mentally has a huge impact. Now, I am going to do a show one day on forgiveness and mental health. But as this is relevant, I will share a little bit of what I will be discussing then now. Let me tell you something. Sometimes illness can come about because of things that have gone on in our past that haven't been resolved. Trauma causes illness. And the only reason why trauma causes illness is because the issue that caused the trauma is still present in our psyche and in our emotions. And when that trauma has been caused by the choice of somebody wanting to inflict pain or trauma, holding on to it and not being able to let go in terms of forgiveness can result in sickness. I know it's not what a lot of people want to hear, but I've told you I don't do political correctness, I do the truth. And I am telling you that when you are in that state of illness, it is important to make peace with your past. Because not sometimes, all the time, when you are able to release people from your spirit, release people, and when I say from your spirit, I mean from your emotion, from your soul, because that's where these things take place, is in your soul, and you are able to release them, that's when you get control, not just over your mental health, but over your emotions as well. Hatred and unforgiveness takes its toll. It ages you, it causes you stress, it causes you illness, it doesn't allow you to manage your emotions as well as you should. So being able to make peace with your past has a huge impact on your health. Being able to release people, it's not easy. You are looking at somebody that people have done the most evil things to. I just maybe haven't shared a lot of it. But the one thing I have to thank God for is I don't hold people in my heart. I.e., I have never hated anybody in my entire life. I am not an angel. I'm being really, really honest with you. I have never hated anyone in all my life for two reasons. One, I'm just not wired that way. Two, I'm a control freak. For me to hate you means I am giving you my power. I can't give you my power. But sometimes we feel empowered by the hatred, but it's really a great deception. You are not empowered. If anything, you are weakened. So when you are diagnosed with a chronic illness, that is your cue and your time to sit down in that quiet moment of accepting your illness and how you're going to live with it and move forward. In also accepting what has happened to you in the past and being able to say, you know what, this person did this to me. I was raped by this person. I was abused by this person. This person stole from me. This person left me at the altar. This person broke my heart. This person stole my child from me. Whatever it may be, because the greater the release and the forgiveness, the greater power you take back. The problem that we have is we tend to feel that by releasing people, it means what they did to us was okay and that they have no case to answer. No, darling. What it means is it's not for you to answer the case for them. Allow them to face the consequences of what they have done. And again, it goes back to belief system. People talk about karma. We talk about the golden rule, do unto others as you want them to do unto you. The Bible talks about, whatsoever a man soweth, so shall he reap. I'm a great believer in that. Because there is nothing that you will do that you will not have, a comeuppance at some point. And you see, the thing about that phrase that says, whatsoever a man soweth, what do you sow? You sow seed. No, all seeds are not the same. Every seed is unique to the fruit in which it will bear. So if I have a tomato seed and I plant it, its time of germination is very different from if I have a seed for an oak tree. So if I have planted a seed for an oak tree, maybe that's symbolic of the wrong I have done to somebody. Why are you waiting for the manifestation of that fruit as if it's a seed of a tomato? The issue is you are neither the soil, neither are you the rain, neither are you the sun for that seed to bear its fruit. In other words, the circumstances around whatever that person has done, leave them to face those things because you are neither of those things. What you are is the person that needs to mind your life and live it. Because the moment you want to sit there and watch a seed grow, do you know how much time you are wasting of your life? Even if it's a seed that you want to see come into fruition, into that fruit being born. Even if you're sitting there waiting for that fruit to manifest, how can you sit there day in, day out, just watching it? There's so many other things that need to be going on. But you have wasted, and it is a waste. There's no nice way of saying it. It is a waste of investing all that time because it impacts your health. I've spoken about trauma before, and I know I don't know, I won't say I digress. I think it's important because some of these things can have a direct impact on our health. Trauma is not supposed to stay in our body. Neither is unforgiveness. Neither is anger. They are all legitimate emotions that must only be in our bodies for a specific time, not too long. Not too long. So if you're angry Be angry for a little while, let it go. If you're offended, be offended for a little while, but let it go. But the moment those emotions begin to take residence in your psyche, in your emotion, and in your soul, that is when they start to manifest physically in your body. Please do not get me wrong. I'm not saying that people that suffer from chronic illness is because they're suffering from unforgiveness. I'm not saying that. I'm just talking about two sides of the coin. That when you are diagnosed with a chronic illness, if there is anything that you need to let go of it, because it's not going to help your health. Because what is of paramount importance here is that your mental health is up here for you to be able to cope with what's going on in your body. You don't need to be overwhelmed with any emotion that is not right. So when we're talking about managing and living with chronic illness, your diet is important. What is the use of having a good diet when you're enraged, when you're seething with anger because of things that have happened in the past? What is the point of, having massages and having a lovely uncluttered environment if there is so much clutter up here of things that people have done to you that you have not been able to let go of? These are all things that is part of your health. Okay, let me just, oh, wow, there's a lot of comments here. Okay, let me see where I'm even going to start from. Okay, if you're enjoying the conversation thus far, please share, give me some thumbs up. If I'm on the right track, show me some love. Okay, Tina says, oh yes, I did read that. Maya Singh, thank you for being on here. Sylvia Charles, thank you for being on here. Absolutely, I had to give up on my good career and eventually my job, which I loved. I'm so sorry to hear that. Lost my finances and house, but nothing I could do as it was not my fault. My health spiraled out of control. I had to rehome my dog many years ago, which was sad, but was better for her. Finally managed to get a bungalow, excellent, last year, which has made things much easier for my mobility issues, but still have a multitude of illness that I'm having to deal with all on my own. I am sorry to hear that. Now I have to decide which procedure to have first, as obviously can't have them all at the same time, as I only have myself to rely on. I'm sorry to hear that, Sylvia. And one of the things that I'm going to get on as well is that it's also helpful if we can also connect with other people that may be going through the same things that we're going through. So, different support groups and also, support groups. And if there's support groups that you can't get to physically, the support groups online on social media, they are a lifeline for people. They really are a lifeline. Even to have a space where you can just rant and say, you know what, I'm just not feeling it today. Why me? You should always be, given that space to have a why me moment. Life is not fair. It's important. And like I said, you have those moments. Just don't stay there for too long. Okay? Sando, thank you for being on here. I haven't seen you for a while. Richard says, Dilys, understand that feeling. I was very independent, still doing my best to be, and worked hard, and every load, bang, my wife and son think I've fallen over. Bless you. Sylvia says, I was diagnosed, that word again. I'm going to pronounce this. I'm going to look at it. It's fibromyalgia, isn't it? Yeah. I was diagnosed with fibromyalgia too, as many others have, but it's not always fibromyalgia. Yeah, and I think this is a problem where we have to be able to really keep on hammering on at our doctors or whoever, or specialists, say that I need you to do these tests, or you need to go and have a second opinion, because it is hard work. It is hard work. I have been the carer that had to do that, and with a doctor that was very nonchalant, very obstructive, if I'm being honest, very, very, very obstructive, where, even when specialists had said that this is what my late husband needed, the doctor was the one that actually was trying to halt some of these, procedures that he needed and stuff. So yeah, it's very challenging. Samia, thank you for being on here. Oops, sorry. Fibromyalgia. Yeah, I got it in the end. Thank you, Lynette. Being a carer, I think you mean, is very hard physically, emotionally, and mentally, and the stigmatization is on another level. I don't think people even knew that I was a carer, to be honest. A lot of people didn't realize, because I was so busy, they didn't realize I was a carer as on top of everything else. I can't see that name. I think is Is it Tetline? Thank you very much for being on here. Tina says, absolutely. That is what drives me every day. Mindset, healthy eating, pacing and knowing my limitations are all part of my life. I wake up grateful. Grateful. I wake up grateful, every one day that I can open my eyes, and being positive drives me forward. That's excellent. And, you know, for somebody that is suffering, and it's not just coming from me, where somebody might watch this and think, oh, it's all right for you. There's nothing wrong with you. Well, for those of you that don't know, I had a husband who passed away 3 years ago, and he did suffer from a chronic illness. 1 minute he was absolutely fine. The next minute, our whole lives changed in our whole family. Everything changed. Finances changed. You know, everything changed. And I still got some stuff to talk about here. Princess Diana says, I feel consultants often diagnosed with fibromyalgia. Terrible, when they can't find anything wrong, but you in pain and fatigued all the time. Yeah, and sometimes the doctors are lazy. Michelle Lewis is watching. Thank you. Don't be sorry that you're late. Better late than never. And you can always catch the replay. So thank you for being on here. Shirley Ann says, some friends don't want to be around you. They are not friends. They are not friends. So it doesn't matter. If you are diagnosed with a critical illness and a friend doesn't want to be around you, I'm sorry, but that's not a friend. I'm talking about friends. I'm not talking about people that you know or the people that you've known for a while. I am talking about friends. Yeah? If they don't want to be around you, they are not friends. They don't own that title. They're just people that you happen to know. Sylvia says, if you have no help or support from family, it's damn hard to cope with chronic illness. Oh, absolutely it is. Absolutely. Now, the one thing that I didn't do that I probably should have done was maybe look up some charities, because there are charities who do support people suffering from chronic illness that don't have family. So please, please, please do go on Google and try and look for some of these charities that do that, because that would be obviously a help. Alberta, thank you for being on here. Sylvia says, absolutely. I've lost many so-called friends from being chronically ill for a long time. Family too. They're not friends. El Kufre, who does all my flyers for me, thank you for watching. Shah, thank you for being on here. Making peace is very important. Yes, it is, Mimi. Thank you for being on here. Tina says, I agree. It helps on the recovery or well-being of the illness. Nana Poku, thank you for being on here. Shah says, I just came here by mistake and I'm hearing big facts. God bless you. Well, thank you for being on here by mistake. I hope you enjoy it. Today, we are speaking about chronic illness, living with chronic illness, and those that support them. So this show is called Speak with Dilys. We speak about many different topics. Today is the last in the episode in the series of Speak with Dilys. This is episode number 13, so feel free to like and follow this page and catch up on some of the many topics, all 39 of them, that we have spoken about on this show. So thank you guys for sticking with me. The MC says, sometimes even some family members don't either. Yeah, I mean, yeah, I was very much on my own with Eddie. Glenn Jenkins, thank you for being on here. Mimi says, forgiveness makes things easy. It really does. Tasha Tuss says, true. Afolabi says, absolutely. D. Tina says, can you forgive but not forget? You can forgive but not forget. Okay, let's address this. And this forgive and not forget thing is there. You don't suffer from amnesia because you forgive somebody. What you do is you say, you did this to me. It was wrong. And I release you from having that hold over my emotions such that you are such a prominent part of my thoughts, my life, and my emotions. That's what forgiveness is. It doesn't mean you forget what happened, and neither does it mean by you forgiving them that what they did was okay. But what I'm saying is that when we're in that headspace of I'm never going to forgive you, it affects your health. And I'm just saying that when you're diagnosed with that chronic illness, that is the time where you sit down and you make peace in your spirit, in your heart, and in your mind of those evil people that did the unthinkable. Only then are you able to cope effectively with your illness. Because unfortunately, it's all wrapped into one. You cannot manage your mental health adequately when there are issues of unforgiveness or hatred for anybody, irrespective of what they've done. It is a hard truth, but it is a truth. The moment you say, I am justified in hating this person because of what they did, you are killing yourself slowly. You have got to let them go. You have to make peace in your life. You have to. And making that peace means letting that person go, releasing them. You see, the problem with unforgiveness and hatred is whilst you're there with all this pent up emotion, they're living. They are living their life. They're not thinking about you. But what I'm saying is, don't think that whatever they've done, there will not be comeuppance. Like I said, every seed has its time of germination. Every seed. So the worse that they've done, the longer it may take for them, for them to meet their comeuppance. But the point is, it's not for you to sit there being the soil, the sun, and the rain. That's not your responsibility. Yours is to say, I leave you to the elements to deal with you because you have sowed a seed. And in its rightful time, in its due season, that seed will bear its fruit. In the meantime, you have a life to live, a very short life, because life is short. And what you don't have, what you can't afford, is to exchange your time, which is so precious and so limited, seed watching. That's what I'm going to call it, seed watching. Don't seed watch. Rather, look at the sun, look at the rain, and be able to recognize the beauty of life. Because no matter what we've been through, there is still some beauty of life in there. Somehow, listen, don't look at me and think, as for Dilys, she doesn't have any problem. There are some things I just choose not to share because I just don't want to. But do not think for a moment that some of the things that you share on here that you've been through that I have not been through. Just don't be deceived. I just choose what I want to share. And maybe at the appointed time, I may let you into a little bit more of certain personal experiences that I have had. I'm not perfect, I don't have a perfect life. I really don't. Not even close. So when I share some of these things, I don't share it from a point of pride or being condescending or patronizing. I share it from a point of real knowledge and experience. And I know that there are certain secret things that maybe people can't tell you because they don't want to offend you, or people don't want you to feel that you are having your pain belittled by them. But that's why I'm saying that the doctors will not tell you. The doctor will not say to you, Miss So-and-so or Mr. So-and-so, is there anybody in your life that has done you real wrong that you've not forgiven? Because if they have, as you've just gotten this prognosis, this would be a good time to forgive them. Your doctor's not going to tell you that. Your doctor's not going to tell you that. There are many people suffering from mental health issues that is as a direct result of what somebody did to them. That is why we don't ask people what's wrong with you. We ask what has happened. Okay? But for as long as we are in that space of focusing on what they did to us and not being able to move forward from it, it will affect your health, and it won't affect your health for good. And yes, it's a hard truth to accept, but it is a truth, and it's something that we need to be aware of so that we are able to manage ourselves that little bit better. Okay, so Marlene says, freedom is great release once forgiveness takes place. It is, it absolutely is. Sylvia says, they are telling too many people they have this sickness, or because they don't want to get to the root cause. Yeah, I believe that. Shanti Ams, thank you for being on here. Shirley says, you are right about forgiveness and illness. Yes. Sylvia says, sorry, but I have to disagree. You do not have to forgive or forget for certain wicked acts. Yes, you do. Yes, accept what has happened, but nobody should be forced to forgive. Listen, let me tell you something. Nobody forces you. Nobody forces you. You can choose not to forgive. What I am saying to you is, and whether you like it or not, and this is a fact, for as long as you don't forgive people, they hold you in prison. Listen, when somebody does wickedness to you and you forgive them, that does not mean what you did to me was okay. What it means is I will no longer allow you to have that control over me. I mean, let's break it down. They've already stolen something from you by being wicked and evil. Why are you giving them that much more time? Because I am telling you, and doctors will tell you. Let me actually go back. I went to a conference in Scotland to see this lady called Dr. Nadine Burke-Harris. I think I mentioned her before. And she is a specialist in this field called ACEs, Adverse Childhood Experiences. And she speaks about adverse things that have happened to children, that if they don't get the adequate support in terms of counselling or emotional or mental health support due to whatever trauma they have suffered, in older life, they can be subject to certain illnesses, even various cancers. A study has been done A wide study has been done, and these were the findings. Part of that, forgiveness was part of that. Because trauma had taken place and they hadn't been able to get that outlet. Now, you see, the thing is, you can't force somebody to forgive. So if that's what you're hearing, then you're not hearing right. I am saying this is what you will need to do in order to help your health. You can't force somebody because it's something that has to happen in here. You have to decide, I want to be free. I want to free myself. Unforgiveness is a prison. And yeah, like Shelley's saying, I can't forgive my abusers, even if that means I die. My daughter died at their hands as well. And so forgiveness will never be on the cards. That's your choice. So I'm saying you have a choice. Cheryl has made her choice that she would rather die than forgive. That's a choice. But for those that want to live rather than die, then choose life. Because this life is just the one. You do what you want to do with it. But when you're suffering from various kinds of illnesses, various kinds of mental health issues as a result of, because it takes a lot to remain angry. It takes a lot to remain in hatred. I have seen it many times. Don't forget, this is my profession. And I can see a distinct difference between those that come to a place and say, you know what, I'm now ready to let it go, and those who hold on to it. There is a vast difference. But what it is absolutely your choice. It's your choice. I am not saying you must forgive. I am saying if you want your health to improve. Cheryl has made her choice. I would rather die than forgive them. That's a choice. God bless you for your choice. And that's yours, and you own that. But what I'm saying, for those that want to have the good health and to be mentally, sound and living, in peace, and you can't have your cake and eat it. You're going to have to forgive if you want that. And if not, then you live with those choices, because that, unfortunately, is how it is. Are you guys still with me? Lemuel Lamptey, thank you for being on here. Shirley says, a lady ended up in a mental home because she refused to forgive someone who wronged her. Anita says, yep, with God's help, I've managed to forgive everyone who ever abused me, right from childhood into adulthood. Sexual abuse, emotional and psychological abuse, and domestic violence. It's very liberating. It's possible to survive abuse and have absolute joy. Bitterness ends in sickness and death. Really not worth it. I hear you, Anita. Shelley Ann says, a male of mine has a history of depression because he has a lot of resentment. It affects your mental health. I mean, any medical professional that's honest will tell you that, or anyone who is in the therapy field will tell you that. Yajim Fua, thank you for being on here. But like I said, it is a choice. I can never say to somebody, you must forgive. No, that's your choice. We're adults here. My job here is just to give information. You pick out of it what you will. If you don't like some bits, don't have it. If you like other bits, you take it. But I am not here to tell you what to do. I'm here to tell you what the alternative is if you want it. Lynette says, so very true. So many of my mature students have adverse mental health and ill health brought on as a result of trauma, domestic violence, abuse, etc. That is the genesis of it. And he said, this is the problem. We then try to treat the mental health part of what has gone on instead of treating the trauma. If we treat the trauma, we won't have the mental health half the time, but we're doing it back to front. And this is why the ACEs study, addressing the adverse childhood experiences, is such a powerful study. Really, really powerful. Mimi says bitterness is an illness. It is. Rosemary Ajikum, thank you for being on here. Ajokan Kam says wasted energy. Tasha said, do you know when you truly forgive someone? I thought I did, but just the name of the person gets me angry. Yeah, you're right. That's when you will know, when you can hear the person's name or recount what they did to you without the same emotions at the time in which they did it. Okay, I think we spent a lot of time on this, and I didn't want to. I did say I was going to do a show on mental health and forgiveness and the correlation between the two. But I think it's quite important because of what we're speaking about now. So that's cool. The other thing, and my time is up, the other thing that I wanted to speak about in terms of other elements of how chronic illness affects people, it's also, just how are you going to live with your family? The dynamics of that change, your sex life even changing. If you are married or if you do have a partner, not even being able to be intimate. And what does that mean? So the impact is a lot. And this is where the quality of your relationship really comes into play. Being able to have those honest conversations and manage each other's expectations. Okay. It's not an easy conversation to have. It's not an easy thing to address. If it's the man that is struggling with his health, or results in a disability, it's difficult for them, because you're looking at male pride. Am I still a man? Especially if it's something that affects their libido, or it results in erectile dysfunction, all those kind of things. So as the women, we need to be quite sensitive. And for me, I talk about heterosexual relationships, so do forgive me, but don't forgive me. That's just I don't have enough knowledge and experience of homosexual relationships, so I stick to what I know. So please don't be offended. But for the woman, this is where you are going to have to kind of really dig deep and see, what does that mean for your relationship? And how are you going to, find ways around it? Can you still have sex? What is the quality of the sex? Is oral sex a part of it? I don't know, but I'm just throwing it out there because we're adults. It's important, and we're having this conversation. So that's another issue, or another big thing for people suffering with chronic illness. It's not just about them. It's also about the other half as well, having to be a part of that. I think I've got here traveling light. I've spoken about forgiveness, being in that moment of managing your relationships. Also consider coaching and counseling. I always say this: anything that is very emotional or has a huge impact on your life or on your mind, do get external help. I don't know why, as human beings, we tend to tell ourselves that we must do it on our own. I really don't know why, because we shouldn't have to. We don't have experience of being diagnosed with illnesses. We don't have experience of bereavement. Get some external help, because sometimes you just want to speak to somebody that doesn't know you, so that you can be in that space where you can rant, scream, shout, and do what you got to do. I also think for people of faith, such as myself, Christians, Muslims, whoever, that you are able to strike that balance. And that's why I'm having this conversation. I'm not here Bible bashing and quoting scripture, because I'm hoping that for those of you that are people of faith, you would just add this to what it is that your faith tells you. So it's about having that balance, and also in those periods where you aren't feeling particularly, in that space of having faith, that that there are practical things that you can do to still manage that sickness at that time for that period. So I hope that you find that bit helpful as well. I also speak about dealing with anger. You are going to be angry, and I think Tina mentioned that as it being one of the first stages. What I would add to that is that stage of anger is intermittent. It can pop up at any time throughout the course of you dealing with and living with that chronic illness. That I know. But how do you manage the anger constructively? I think that would be down to your personality and just down to how you deal with anger generally. So if you take someone like my late husband, for example, he is one of those lash out people. Does my head in. But I had to, and like I said, I think with all my experience, I wasn't aware enough of the mental pressure of living with a chronic illness and the bursts of anger, because it was also from frustration. You just want to come down the stairs, quickly run down, put the kettle on, make a drink. He couldn't do that. I had to do that for him, or one of the kids had to do it. So you get angry because you want to be independent. Maybe you don't even want to call anyone, but you're having to. So how do you deal with the anger side of things? And I think what would be helpful is that when you are with the family, to say, look, I am going to be angry. And when I'm angry, this is how I'm going to behave. This is what I would need when I'm angry. Maybe that's not the time to respond to me. Or maybe that is a cue for you to just leave me alone, or quickly ask me, do you need anything, and just disappear. So it's also about managing the expectations of yourself and other people in the home when it comes to anger. Because anger is something that will be an intermittent thing. It's not going to be just a one-off thing. And maybe every time that you may even have to go for your checkups may make you angry, because it makes your situation more real. So just be aware of that. Those of us that are caring for people or are interacting with somebody, give them that space to go through that whole spectrum of emotion, the anger, the resentment, the why me. Allow them, because it's similar to grief. Allow them, let them do it their way. Be there as a support, be there as that sounding board, So really do consider having external help when you are going through or when you've been diagnosed, I would also say maybe have somebody that you speak to even once a month, so you're proactive. You know, I had this conversation with my daughter. Yes, her situation may not be about chronic illness, but I was saying that even when you're having a good period, make sure that you book the counsellor so that you're proactive. Don't go and see the counsellor just when you're in crisis. Be proactive so that you're able to manage the emotions in advance, so you're a lot more in control. Okay? Self-esteem and self-worth. Redefine who you are and the new you, because it is a new you. You're going to have to redefine your new normal. So if, let's say, for example, you were mobile and now your mobility is affected, you're going to have to address that and look at yourself as the person, who no longer is able to just, walk with ease. Maybe you need a walking aid. Maybe you need to be in a wheelchair. Redefine yourself. Go on the internet and go and find people, inspirational people who are in wheelchairs, and see how they've changed their life. It might sound corny, but it will give you some hope, because I know it's not easy. Believe you me, I lived with a man for 3.5 years. I know it's not easy, but you do whatever you can do to make sure that you don't look in the mirror and be disappointed. You don't look in the mirror and think, is this what I've become? Don't ever do that. Because we evolve in different ways for different reasons. Some people, their greatest wins in life has been that disability. Some people, their greatest wins in life has been that big disappointment. Their greatest wins, because somehow they've turned it around. And I know it's not easy living with pain constantly. Again, my late husband was in constant pain, morphine kind of pain. It was relentless. It was relentless. And it was painful, very painful to watch. But somehow, and this is why I'm saying that going through that physical pain and having a hatred for someone as well. Listen, when I'm not feeling well and I'm even angry, the pain intensifies. I don't know what it is for some of you out there, but when I'm in pain and maybe somebody has upset me, maybe one of the kids have done something stupid and I'm shouting, even that I feel worse. So I can't imagine having that constant thing going on and I'm not well. So just consider it. So now I'm coming to the end now because I've gone over. It is the last one, so we're allowed. Let me see what comments are on here. Efwa Duku says, I had to forgive my biological father who was never there for me because I learned to choose life. I learned that forgiveness is not connection. I learned that there were people I might have been offended, who never mentioned to me. I chose life always. Good for you, Efwa. Tina says, you have to treat the root cause with trauma, chronic illness or anything else. Absolutely correct. Sylvia Charles says, Shell Robin, so sorry you have to have had so much sadness and grief. Stay strong. Princess Rufus, thank you for watching. Hala, thank you very much for being here, sis. Tina says, I've always sought external help and it's helped me greatly. It's good to speak to someone neutral. Wonderful. And Tina is somebody that that is living with chronic illness. So it really is very helpful, hearing her views as well. So thank you for that. Kimmy, thank you for watching as well. Deanna Burko, thank you for being here. She says, I feel anger when I feel the pain every day. Yes. And, I did speak to your mum and I know what happened and I'm so sorry. And you see those kind of unnecessary situations where you end up with a disability or end up in pain, it is difficult and you do feel angry. And I think this is where positive affirmations come in. This is where positive confessions come in, and I've done this with some of my clients that, for example, I am feeling this pain, but this pain is not going to define me. This pain is going to remind me of all the other painless, beautiful things in my life that I am experiencing right now. And that becomes your response when you feel that pain, as opposed to the anger. Because what the anger does is it resets the clock. It means every time that you move forward and you are in control, the anger takes you back to that space and that spot. And what it is, it's about resetting the clock on that trauma and resetting the clock on that issue. So I hope that is helpful. CBT is good to help with anger management and dealing with automatic negative thoughts. That's Tina again. Thank you so much. Deanna says, counselling is very good to help deal with anger from pain or illness or trauma. Thank you very much as well. And coaching. I'm not a counsellor. I do coaching. Part of what I do is trauma related. Merlin says, learn how to park the pain and continue with life the best I can. God bless you and all the best with that. Deanna says, learning to adjust is the painful part. Not being able to do what you used to do is also the bitter pill that you have to learn to swallow. I know I know it's hard. I know it's hard. I know it's hard. And you know, when you're able to do it, that's when the definition of the new you and the new normal comes into play. Okay, so that is great. And Deanna says, the pain is frustrating, but we have to try push through best we can. Indeed. Gertrude Tessa, thank you for being in here. William, how are you doing? William says, what about the role of God in dealing with the pain and the negative thoughts? Prayer is the best form of meditation. That's what I'm saying, that yes, it's both sides for people who are Christian and not Christian, because again, not everybody has the same faith. So for those, and I'm saying that for people who are Christian, add this to the practical side as well. I'm not saying that because, you know, this is managing chronic illness, it means that you don't walk in faith, or you don't believe, you know, for your healing. Still keep doing what you're doing, but these are all tools that are there to help you. Leah, thank you very much for watching. Dana says, Sylvia, 100%, every day is a challenge, but you mustn't give up. Where there is life, there is hope. God bless you. And that is absolutely true. So, conclusion. These are some of the things that we don't like talking about, but we need to. Critical illness cover. If you live in places like, you know, the Western world, there are different kind of insurances that you can have. So critical illness cover is one. So if you ever find yourself critically ill or diagnosed with a critical illness, there is a particular type of insurance that you can have. Life insurance, whether you are critically ill or not, please get life insurance. I have life insurance. If anything happens to me, I know that you know, my kids are taken care of. They're not going to be homeless. They're not going to starve. These are the practical things that we have to do. Write your will. Write your will. It is important. It is also important to have, to give somebody power of attorney. Now there's a name and I wish it hadn't gone out of my head. There's a certain type of power of attorney. But let's say, for example, if you were involved in a car crash, that person could make decisions concerning your medical care. Because if not, social services will make those decisions for you. Okay, so make sure you speak to any will writing service will give you that advice, because they gave that advice to me and that's what I've done. Funeral expenses. Guys, look up a funeral plan and start paying. I know it doesn't sound nice, but we need to start to get practical about life. And part of life is death. We need to start to you know, be realistic about it. Marnie says, get power of attorney for care and financial matters. It's really important. Jeanette, well, thank you for joining. Guys, if you haven't shared this, please share. Hi, Evelyn, how are you doing? Health and welfare is one, absolutely. Start creating memories. And this is why yes, there's lasting power of attorney, but there's another name for it. I can't remember. If I find it, I will post it on here. It's something power of attorney. I can't remember the name. If there's any lawyers on here, they should know. Start creating memories. Start creating good memories. When you are critically ill, what you need to think about, what your mind needs to think on are good things, healthy things, things that are uplifting, things that are encouraging, things that are wholesome. And that's why I keep speaking about the whole forgiveness, anger thing. Once you are in that space, it's affecting your health. It's tainting and competing with the good thoughts that need to be in your mind that will obviously help your physical. I think it is enduring power of attorney. I think it is. That sounds familiar. I think it is enduring power of attorney. I think you're right. That's the one that allows, you know, you to appoint somebody to speak on your behalf if there are any medical whatevers that need to be done, and you know you find yourself in a position where you can't make decisions for yourself. So yeah, so one of the things I'm saying is that, you know, create good memories, get support and accountability buddy, get somebody that you know cares for you, is concerned about you, that you can say, you know, today I'm not feeling it. You know, I am not feeling it. I really don't want to be here today or what have you because the pain is too much. Get that, you know, get somebody that can do that. Yes, it is enduring power of attorney. I knew if it was mentioned, I'd remember what it is. Michelle said, I agree. We need to put these things in place and have discussed these things with my children already, though they didn't want to hear it. Well, tough. My daughter is 15. I had this conversation with her at 14 and she's somebody that's lost a parent. Trust me, she didn't want to hear it either, but she's hearing it. I said, Isabel, if anything happens to mummy, this is where the papers are. This is what you need to do. If I get married again, then that conversation, I personally would not marry anybody that wouldn't have this conversation. I wouldn't have it because it's an important conversation to have. Dino, thank you for being on here. Carbu, where have you been? Welcome, welcome, welcome. Thank you for being on here. Let me go back and see if there's any, I'm sure there's many comments that I have missed. Guys, if you're watching this, please do share. Have you found this conversation helpful? Because I know that it was a tough one, and I knew it was always going to be a tricky one, speaking about forgiveness and letting people go, because I know that people don't like to hear that, because it's, especially when what's been done to you has just been life-changing. It's been, I get it. Believe you me, I get a lot of things. I just don't tell you. Lolita, I love your name, says, listen to Dilys. Bless you. Ulysses said, when my best friend was terminal, we made so many new memories. This helped me so much to continue without her. Love her. God bless her. And I pray she continues to rest in peace. Ayikwe says, very helpful. Thank you for being on here, Ayikwe. I know that you're kind of new, so I'm really happy to have you back. Marlene says, very important conversation to be had. Bless you. Carbo says, was preparing for tomorrow. Some big davy. Well, whatever you're preparing for, I hope it goes well for you. So yes, create those memories. We don't have time to concentrate on the people that did us wrong. We need to start concentrating on the many people, because I would assume that the people that have done us right are far more than those that did us wrong. Let's start creating beautiful memories with those people, at least for their, even if not for us, for their sake as well. Because when you're not here, they need to remember the beautiful you, and that beautiful you is in there. Allow that you to be healed so that you can move forward. Allow that, okay? Mimi says, very helpful. Thank you, Dilys, for allowing God to use you. God bless you. I pray for more grace for you. Amen. Thank you so much. Diana says, right. Hetia Dami, where have you been? Thank you for being on here. We're just about wrapping up. Anita says, another great conversation, Dilys. Love the contributions from others. I always love the contributions. I always do. I mean, I don't, like I say, it's not about agreeing with me. I like to hear what you have to say, because it's going to help someone. Even Cheryl saying that, look, I'm never going to forgive. That is going to be where somebody watching this video, maybe they're in that space and they need to go through that process and maybe come to a place where one day they say, actually, you know what, I'm so done. This is so draining. I don't want this anymore. Faye Clinton says, precious memories contribute to the feel-good factor. Yes, it does. Diana says, amen. Life is so short. Tina says, important conversations are needed. Spot on. God bless you. Miley says, these sessions have been excellent. Thank you very much. Shirley Ann says, great and informative show. Princess says, God richly bless you, Lady Dilys. You are an inspiration and a phenomenal woman, and so are you. And girl, she can sing. Princess has got a beautiful voice. Shirley Ann says, Aiko, thank you. Michelle Okway says, great conversation. Yusuf said, fantastic and informative topic. Thank you. Thank you all very much for your lovely comments, your contributions. You guys do not know how much you have blessed me. You don't. You think that I come on here and it's all about me coming to talk to you. No, it's not. You have been people that have allowed me to realize a part of my calling in this life. And you've also made me understand the reason why I have gone through a lot of horrible things in my life that made no sense at the time. I couldn't see the point of it. What I couldn't understand, what's the point of me spending 3.5 years tending to somebody that's going to die on me? What was the point then? What was the point? You think I didn't think, like I wasn't upset about it? But I was. But I had to come to an understanding. I could have been angry with God. I could have been angry with life. And where would that anger have led me? Would I be sitting here? Because you see, the thing is, you cannot share and you cannot give of that which you have not experienced, or that which you haven't either come to terms with or lived. So when you guys say, oh, Dilys, you're so loving, it's because I had to come to a place of forgiveness of many things. I haven't shared my whole life story with you guys. And I always say to you that you're not looking at perfection. You're looking at somebody that is walking in the grace of God. I don't do things in my own strength. I don't think that, oh, as for me, I'm just so perfect. Oh, I'll just forgive them. That's why, if you noticed, I didn't come with any of those stupid cliches of, oh, well, if you don't forgive somebody, it's like drinking poison and expecting somebody else to die. I don't belittle people's pain like that. I don't disrespect people's experiences. I don't do that. I don't patronize people. But what I will tell you is the truth, even if you don't want to hear it. Because if I was, when I hear people say that, I cringe. I was like drinking poison, expecting someone else. At the end of the day, people have been through some real stuff. Real stuff. As Shell, as she shared, she was abused. As a result of that abuse, she was pregnant. She lost her only child. She has never had a child since then. Do you think I would disrespect her pain and her journey by saying, well, Shell, well, that's like drinking poison, expecting somebody else to die. You've got to forgive. God forbid. I don't come on here and judge people. I don't come in here and patronize people. I certainly don't come on here and belittle people. But even if you don't want to hear it, if I know it's the truth and I really do believe that it's going to help you and it's going to set you free and it's going to be a blessing to you, rest assured your girl's going to tell it to you. Rest assured. But I say it to you in all humility and with respect. Because what I can't afford to do is knowing that maybe I'm the only person that has the grace to tell you, and I don't tell you because you're going to be angry. Even if you're angry, one day you're going to forgive me. You ain't going to block me because I'm too cute. You're going to come back and we're going to have a conversation. I am here to love you. I am here to say to you that yes, they did you wrong, but there's so many people that will do you right. That's what I'm here for. I'm here to say that even if the whole world is crap, there's one person that actually does care. Yeah, I'm cute. I am cute, damn it. You can't block me. We've just got to understand that this life is difficult and we need people that will walk alongside us that will make it that bit easier. That's why I don't lament about losing my late husband. Was it painful? Is it painful? Of course it is. Of course it is. But I realized that I needed to lose him to gain something. He needed to give up his life for you to have something that I could never give you unless he wasn't here. And for those reasons, I have to make my life count. I don't have time to sit down and be angry. I don't have time to sit there and be resentful. I don't have time to say what if. I don't have time for that. Because whilst I'm sitting in that place of anger, there's somebody out there that's waiting for me to rise up and speak a word into their life that will allow them to be able to overcome. I don't have that luxury. I don't have that luxury. So I will beg you for the love of God and from my heart that if you are in a place of unforgiveness, just consider for a moment what life would look like if you let those people go. Just for a minute, just for a second, if only you would let them go. If only you would let them go. So that's all I have to say on that. Yalia, thank you for being on here. Guys, Mimi, so when people tell me that I'm a strong woman, I just tell them it's God's grace. Well, 100%. And my sweetheart Chanel says, a fantastic conversation, a wealthy and helpful and essential for sharing and delivering and being here every week. We shall miss you so much. You are shared and brought so much hope and wisdom. Thank you so much, you beautiful soul, Dilys. Bless you all. Thank you. And yes, come for cake and fizz. I'm coming. Okay, so guys, I have some news for you. No, I'm not pregnant. Don't look at this and think that she's trying to tell you something. No, I should have put a bit on this. It's not that. Yeah, so you can forget about that. Yeah. Today was the last episode in Speak with Dilys, Series 3. Next week, Sunday at 8 o'clock is going to be the 4th series of Speak with Dilys, so I ain't going nowhere. So you're going to see me next week, Sunday at 8 o'clock. Don't be late. So yes, I am not having a break. I was going to, but I prayed about it and God said, girlfriend, get your lazy ass in that chair next Sunday and stop playing the damn fool. I don't go on holiday. I am God. You ain't going on no holiday. So I'm going to be here next week, Sunday at 8 o'clock. So that was my news. And let me tell you something. If you guys aren't here, it'll be big trouble. Oh. Don't make me go into my Ghana mood. Don't make me go to Africa. Don't make me go and do you Ghana juju. Okay, guys. So yes, you will see me next Sunday. Oh, somebody said I made them cry. Oh, yeah, sorry, right. Don't cry. Oh, come on, baby, don't cry. I'll be here next Sunday. And, and this is what I'm talking about, being spirit-led. I'm just doing what I believe I have to do. So, guys, you'll see me next Sunday. And on that note, Speak with Dilys, I am looking to book a Speak with Dilys show on the 22nd of April this year in central London. There will be a VIP networking part to it. And then a general, so it's going to be basically like a talk show. So all of you will be there, hopefully, and I will be your talk show host. I might not be Oprah, but I'm trying, you get me. So that's what we're going to be doing on that day. So please put a note in your diary. I have mentioned at the beginning, for those of you that weren't here earlier, I am one of the speakers for the Rotary Club on International Women's Day on the 10th of March. So it's been, this year has really started off as a real blessing for me. What else? There's something else. Yes, I am looking for sponsors for that event. I am also looking for sponsors for this show. So I am going to try and maybe do this show on, I think it's StreamYard, but I'm not tech savvy, so I'm going to be looking for people who will help. John says Oprah's got nothing on me. Thank you, darling. But she got more money. Gianna says, lovely. Me and Mum will be there. Wonderful. Yeah. So guys, put the 22nd of April in your diaries, and I am looking for sponsors for this show. I'm also looking for sponsors. For this show. So if you want me to advertise something for you, do let me know. Clothes, stuff like that. If it's any products, let me know. It'd be lovely to have you, Lynette. And John Gordon is going to be there, even though he didn't say he was going to be there. If he's not, I'll hunt him down. Yania says, you are better than Oprah, full of wisdom and knowledge. God bless you. Guys, support the cause. I think we have amazing conversations here. No idea what we're going to be talking about next week, but whatever it is, it will be time spent great with you. Because normally what I do on my last show is I speak about all the other shows and what our favorite bits were, and I invite people on to share. That might be what we do next week. So we'll go over the 13 shows. It will be a bit of an extended one. Okay, let's do that. I think I'm okay with doing that next week. So if you want to be on the show, I'll invite guests on here to speak about the most important thing you learned, or your favorite show, or the one that had the most impact. Let me know, and if I probably have about 5-6 people, that would be great. Please send, inbox me, and we shall do that. So guys, if you have, in fact, give yourselves, everyone watching, just give me loads of hearts, which is a thank you for watching. Some of you have been here every single week without fail, have shared the broadcast every single week without fail. I am grateful. I have enjoyed spending this time with you. One thing that I've really loved is the way you speak to each other and the way you advise each other. A lot of you are so open about personal things. Shell Robinson, you have been amazing. Tina, thank you so much for sharing your personal experiences. Anita as well. So many of you, Deanna, all of you, I am very, very, very grateful, because you could sit here and not say a word. And we very often have in excess to something like 300 comments, and I try and go through in bed and, read through all of them. So God bless you all. Thank you so much. 39 conversations we have had on Speak with Dilys. Amazing. Thank you so much. 22nd of April, make it a date. Soon as I have a venue, I need sponsorship for this. It will probably cost, I don't know, within the region of about £2,000 to put together. It will be a ticketed event. Those of you that have been to my events before know that I give you quality all the time. So you will not be disappointed. Guys, God bless you all. For those of you living with chronic illnesses, I pray that your pain will ease. As for me, I'm a woman of prayer. So Lord, I just thank you so much for being with me for these 39 episodes. Lord, I just give you praise. I thank you, Lord. I am grateful for these wonderful people. I pray for each and every one of these people watching. Lord, I pray for their health. I pray for their families. I pray for their finances that may have been affected through ill health. And Lord, I just pray that you will comfort them, Lord, that your peace will be upon them, Lord, that they will be able to see the light at the end of the tunnel. I pray that those that are struggling, with forgiveness and releasing people, Lord, I pray that your grace will be sufficient for them. That, Lord, that love will far outweigh any other emotion that they may feel. Father, I thank you, Lord, in Jesus' name, amen. Guys, thank you so much. Adjul says, if COVID permits, I will fly from Germany for your show. Wow, now that is something. That would be lovely. That would be absolutely lovely. I will make sure that it is a great show for you people. I'm looking at a venue for about 100 people. Though my book launches, I did have, I think, an excess of 150, 170. Respectively. So we shall see. Guys, I'm going to go because I need to get some water. My coffee is cold and I want to go watch something on Netflix. I'm wondering if I think I have some Prosecco. I think I deserve to celebrate. Evelyn, thank you so much. Evelyn has always been a huge support to me. Anything I do, Evelyn is a wonderful person. And Evelyn, I just want God to bless you for every seed that you have sown in my life. I pray in Jesus' name that it begins to bear so much fruit that you will have baskets full of fruit overflowing, because you are a blessing to my life. And also, Afolabi as well. Every morning, Afolabi will send me prayers in my inbox. He prays for me every single day. So God bless you and your wife. God bless everybody. There isn't anyone that I don't want God to bless, because you have all been amazing people. So thank you so much for being a part of this show. Thank you for being a part of my future. Thank you for being a part of my calling. Thank you for being a part of my life. I am grateful. I am humbled. I am at your service. So God bless you. Thank you so much, guys. Gonna go, and I shall see you next week, Sunday at 8 o'clock. Take care, guys. God bless you. And don't forget to share and follow the page and switch on your notifications. Take care. Bye.